The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Let's go! What time is it? Game time! Game time! It's gonna be a football game tonight now. No doubt. It's gonna be a football game here. Okay. I done been here before. All right, let's go, baby. Hey.
9. Rushing forward, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground, and it's still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line. Vaughn Miller did it again. Watson, touchdown! Hunter Renfrow. Little man makes another enormous play. 1 second remaining.
Ladies and gentlemen, football to the max.
Your host, Sean Garmer, Gary Vaughn, and Randy Isbell.
Hello, and welcome to a late night edition of Football to the Max here, as it's just going to be Gary and I, as we had to once again do it on a Friday night because schedules didn't line up, but we had some big news concerning the San Diego Chargers moving to Los Angeles and becoming the Los Angeles Chargers. They finally figured out their logo today after about 20 different teams, including the Air Force, shamed them on Twitter for copying the Los Angeles Dodgers. But we decided that we couldn't do this show without having our awesome friend and San Diego Chargers fan for such a long time be on and kind of give us the San Diego Charger fan point of view on this issue, because this is a big deal concerning that whole city of San Diego having their team get moved after almost 60 years of playing there. And so I've talked to guys that are fans of the LA Galaxy that now has their team getting in, the Chargers are now playing in their stadium. They're not too happy about it. Nobody seems happy about this. I don't understand what this big deal, this move is. This move doesn't seem to be good for anybody. But let's bring on Gary is going to come on as well. He's in this same call here, and Rachelle to talk about this. Rachelle, I know you got to be heartbroken to lose your team. I don't know how to say this other than just kind of tell me what's going through your mind.
Oh, well, what's going through my mind? Are we allowed to cuss?
Yes, you can curse on here. It's fine.
Here's the thing that I'm really, first of all, I'm shocked that I'm shocked, beyond mortified, saddened, emotional. But what's really shocking here in San Diego, it's 24/7 on the news, every news station, and they're covering L.A. down here. And L.A. did nothing for welcoming him, nothing. Kroenke decided to release his new head coach the minute Spanos went. He didn't even stay here when it broke here. He got on the plane and went to Inglewood, and we followed him up to Inglewood, and one of the San Diego guys got the first interview. So he did an interview up there. Nothing in L.A. You've got a team coming and nothing. Kroenke overshadowed him by announcing his head coach. We announced our new head coach too. Nothing. There's no welcome. There's no anything. You've got 2 losing teams. Don't laugh, Gary. 2 losing teams in an L.A. market, which is the biggest, most expensive market there is in the NFL, barring New York, I think. And so what I think, this is in my own head, Spanos is hoping in the next 10 years to grab that L.A. market, because certainly the Rams haven't. They got their season ticket holders, but they had a horrific year and didn't fill their stadium. So people are so pissed they're burning jerseys. I would never burn my jerseys. You've got years of memories, and that's just ridiculous. So now they've done drive, a homeless drive. They're bringing all the jerseys, and I'm telling you, there's hundreds, jackets, mugs. All of these are being collected for the Alpha Project here in San Diego for the homeless. So our homeless in San Diego are going to be sporting Chargers gear.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be thankful for that.
Yeah.
That's a good cause for sure. And, in a way, I kind of feel like, it's representative of what's going on with the Chargers organization right now. And I know they found a new home, but yet it's almost like it's a unwelcome but welcome to Los Angeles. And I've heard different people from Los Angeles talk about this, how, yes, the San Diego Chargers are a team that, could maybe do something and maybe be kind of like the New York Giants and New York Jets have in their stadium and around them and be a part of their, organization. But here's the thing. Everybody remembers the Rams and a lot of good things about the Rams. And the Chargers, I feel like, are going to be mistreated. And so this is a kind of representative thing of what's going on with this whole situation. I really was a proponent of San Diego keeping the Chargers for one reason, and that's because of people like Rachelle, her family, people that really have supported that team. It seems like the city of San Diego could care less about those people and more about their pocketbooks and how they want to run everything. So that's one thing I've kind of been angry about. I'm in a big state of fear right now, and I'm not necessarily a Chargers fan, but I respect them. I really have a lot of fear with this whole situation in Los Angeles. Are they going to get treated like, or that's not profanity, but some people may be offended, like the redheaded stepchild, or they get pushed aside because the Rams are going to get all the love, and then, it's whatever's left over, Chargers, here you go. I have a lot of fear that that's what's going to happen in Los Angeles.
It's so
He's
weird.
for sure the runt of the litter up there, for sure. He's for sure. And when the Rams came in this year, there was no more Charger football in L.A. They couldn't get the game. Well, now what are they going to do?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, you have all these, newspaper writers, you got pundits, you got people that used to play for the Rams that say, we don't even want the Chargers here. Why are they here? Send them back to San Diego. It's just, it already feels like they're basically being forced to be here, but nobody wants them there, and it doesn't really bode well for things going forward. I mean, so is this like a true feeling amongst Angelinos and people from San Diego? They don't really like each other?
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is the hardest thing for me to say. This is going to be the first year in 38 years I'm not renewing my season tickets. And that's really shocking. I will go, every year I go to 3 away games. We pick where we want to go, always a conference game, and then, a stadium I haven't been to. This year I will again go to 3 away games, but I will not go up there. I will not. I would rather drive to Vegas from my home than go to L.A. because it's an easier drive. It's a better place to be. It's just so hard. It's like a Raider-Charger thing. It's so obnoxious up there. It's just obnoxious. And in Inglewood, yes, if you want to make money, mark my words, buy property in Inglewood now, because all they need is one Super Bowl. You rent out the home and you've made your money back. I can't even fathom. I have no hatred for the Rams, zero. Their history is phenomenal. But Kroenke's got that wrapped up. I mean, the Walmarts didn't carry one Charger thing this year because the Rams up there. And this is because of my Charger sisters and brothers. They couldn't get anything. He brought it all in, and you can't even buy Chargers up there. And they got Chargers before because they're Southern California. Again, he's the runt in the litter. He doesn't even get the revenue that Kroenke's going to get. He has to pay Kroenke $650 million relocation fee. NFL was going to throw $300 million in. We're almost there, and he left.
So how do you feel about? I've heard many people say that in 2017 we shouldn't expect cities to pay at all for stadiums. That they should come out of other kinds of funding, funding from the owner, funding from, obviously you were going to get help from the NFL and this situation. Do you kind of agree with that, or do you think the city is still responsible? Even though there are other things obviously more important than football in the grand scheme of life, do you think cities should still be sort of responsible for when there's a stadium?
Okay,
I'm just saying, like, in reality, what they obviously all have their reasons as to why they didn't vote in the end. But where do you draw that line?
We own the land. The city owns the land that Qualcomm is on now. And I know Qualcomm looks awesome on TV. It is a teardown. It needed to be teared down 10 years ago. The mayor, the council members wanted it Mission Valley. When we said this on last podcast, but let me just preface this. When Spanos didn't get his stadium here, he went and did the Carson deal. Well, so NFL said, okay, we'll give you a year. Here, Spanos did not know this was coming. We'll let you go in with Kroenke, or we'll give you $300 million to stay home and build it, work it out. We'll help you. And so he came back, and he tried for the same thing. The same thing being Spanos wanted it downtown. Well, he left for Carson because they said no downtown. Now, he came back for downtown. It went on the ballot. It didn't pass. The mayor only jumped on board, and I'm talking the 11th hour before the vote November 8th, because he always wanted Mission Valley because they already own Mission Valley, and they didn't want to do it downtown. But he said, yeah, let's get behind it because we didn't want to lose our team. So it didn't pass. And Spanos said, if I don't get a showing from San Diego, then they've told me what I need to do. He got 43% of the vote. And he took that personal, but here's something that you guys are not aware of. Only the city, if you live in the city of San Diego, could you vote. I live in the county. I'm in Ramona. Del Mar is the county where Philip Rivers lives. La Mesa, Hamul, Carlsbad, Oceanside, where Junior Seau is from, is the county. No county members could vote for that Measure C. That was huge. It would have passed by a landslide if the county could have voted. Now, here's why. It's because county members, county owners, renters, whatever, do not pay city taxes, so therefore we don't have a vote. And I said all along, you need to, first of all, season ticket holders, that's a crock of crap. Our vote should count. It didn't. I said you should take a poll, whatever legalities you need to get passed, and have them come to the stadium, show their ID, 2 forms of ID, that, I live here, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to vote for it if you're in the county? Because we don't get a say because we don't pay city taxes. So it didn't pass. So he left. And here's the thing. Should the city pay for it? They've offered Mission Valley. He didn't want Mission Valley. I personally wanted Mission Valley. I didn't want downtown. But you know what? I would have taken downtown over this crap. No, I think, yes, I do think the city has to be involved because it's an experience. The NFL is part of that experience, but it's an experience. It's another reason to come here. It's Legoland. It's SeaWorld. It's the world's famous zoo. It's Balboa Park, our beaches, forget it. Our weather. Are you kidding me? There's everything to do here. We will have an NFL team again in San Diego. It's freaking San Diego. It just needed to be the Chargers, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what interests me here, Rachelle, because of the fact that, and I'm just going to speak from where I'm from and from the pro team that I follow in the Dallas Cowboys. This has actually happened twice in their history, and a lot of people outside of Dallas don't really think about that or know that possibly. The reason why when you watch a Dallas Cowboys home game and they don't ever say Dallas, Texas, is because, guess what? Same thing happened with us. Yeah, Arlington, because the city of Dallas had a beautiful site. I mean, a great site. One city councilwoman, Laura Miller, she had other things on her mind and did not want the Dallas Cowboys. They voted against it, so the Cowboys got the best next, which was Arlington, which is a great place. It's fine. Irving was the same way in the 70s. That's the only way that the Cowboys can be. The city said, oh, no, that crappy little cotton bowl that you guys have works just fine. You guys just go sit there. They said, are you kidding me? No. So they went to Irving. So I feel your pain here, and I understand it. I totally 100% agree with you. The city of San Diego is going to build a brand-new, beautiful stadium, and they will be inviting I don't know who into that stadium, but they will have a new team. And it's just a shame, though. And the reason I feel bad is because of fans like you who love the Chargers, love the history, have been a part of that history, but then in your backyard you may be talking about, I don't know, whoever decides to come.
Well, I just hope you're right, because I'd hate for them to turn into the Seattle basketball team where they're still holding out and hope that a team's going to relocate there at some point. But, I mean, looking at the team as it is, I know that it kind of makes it hard for you to care about them not being in the city anymore, but what do you have any thoughts on the new coaching hire, letting go of McCoy, bringing in a guy that didn't even have one whole year as the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, and Anthony Lynn?
That's the stupidity of our general manager. Telesco's young. He's basketball background. I don't know how he got his job. I like him personally. He brought in McCoy. They both came in together. He tried to keep McClown. When they came in, he got a 4-year deal. Telesco had a 4-year deal. A 3-year deal. And Telesco got renewed. So he decided to renew Mike McCoy an extra year for 5 years. Well, not only did we get rid of him after year 4, we had to pay for him to go. He's not a head coach. He's no leadership. You cannot have a football team without leadership. You look at a history of these NFL teams, and you have leaders. You have strong guys. There's no mamby-pamby, mealy-mouth, repeat themselves, can't get a different mantra than, we got to do better. We're going to go to work. We're going to look at film. Oh, my God. Year 1, I knew it. I knew it year 1. He was handed our team on a platter from AJ, GM, and Norv. And that's the only reason he did well. He's gone downhill. He can't manage a clock. There's no respect. There's no one that came out and sided with him or said anything good about him until they were put on the spot. And Phillip Rivers didn't even do that. And he's the nicest guy in the world. He just said, I'm going to miss him. That says a lot. When you're not backing your coach in any way, shape, or form. Corey Legent came out 2 years ago, and then he was fined by our team because he said something about Mike McCoy. And then nothing's ever been said again from anybody in our team, in our locker room, in the Charger organization about Mike McCoy. Why he got extended, I don't know. He's just not head coach material. And maybe you guys have had that on your teams too. And I did want to say real quick about Jerry Jones. He has been on our bandwagon forever. He tried to keep our Chargers here. He was at our meeting when when Goodell came here, and we did a big downtown thing where the site was going to be. LT showed up, and Phillip Rivers was on the podium, and Roger Goodell and Dean Spanos. I talked to Dean and had my picture taken with him that day, and he said, we'll get it done. I said, you're not going to get it done because you're not letting the county vote. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. Well, we didn't get it done.
It's a sad thing. I mean, honestly, I will say this for Anthony Lynn, he's going to a better quarterback. He's leaving Tyrod Taylor to go have Phillip Rivers as quarterback. You lose some, you win some with the difference between LaShawn McCoy and Melvin Gordon. But, the team was, like you were mentioning before we started talking, last year they had an injury bug of 17 injured players. This year, 26 injured players. Keenan Allen goes down again. Such a series of unfortunate events for this team. And then, they couldn't figure out how to win.
No, it's killing. I will say this. Let me finish with the question that you asked me. It's been 24 hours now. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to give my ticket money to L.A. ever. But you know what? The players didn't do this. How am I not going to back Phillip Rivers? How am I not going to cheer on Gates to make NFL history? He's tied Gonzalez, but history. How am I not going to back what LT's done? And now he has to go to friggin' Canton, Ohio, and be a San Diego Charger, but they're no longer San Diego Chargers on his acceptance speech. How am I not going to back all my years and just the fun and excitement and rallying around my team and meeting perfect strangers that I would never talk to? Not that I'm not shy. I would never talk to or go out of my way to talk to, but because they have a Charger shirt or jersey on, we strike up a conversation. So yes, I'm going to back my team. As long as Phillip and Gatesy are still playing, I don't know. It's such a sore spot with me. But I'll tell you, when another team comes here, I'm going to be in. I'm going to be all in because what do I do, you know?
That's totally fair. You know?
Yeah.
Wait,
you know, I just, you know, I really wonder how this is all going to work out. But, you know, I just wonder if San Diego finds a way to finally get the city and everyone else to agree or whatever they can do to build that brand new stadium to entice a team. It just makes me wonder. I mean, I would not take it back. I mean, L.A. got their Rams back. The Cleveland Browns were reborn, even though it's not the same exact organization. They were being able to be reborn. And so maybe the same thing happens with the Chargers. Maybe that kind of have to be brought back or something. But, I really just, in my heart of hearts, I would love the Chargers to be back in San Diego. Is it going to happen? I don't know. It would take a lot more failure. I don't want to wish failure on Phillip Rivers. I kind of want to see the guy win a Super Bowl, to be honest with you. He's deserved it. He's a great quarterback. I have a lot of pain in my heart for that guy because I know another quarterback that I really love who hasn't won a Super Bowl too, and who, Hall of Fame may be a little bit of a question because of it. So those guys in San Diego that have been there for years, Phillip Rivers, even Melvin Gordon, a great young player, I want to see them succeed, trust me. But if it takes failure and all that, and San Diego gets the Chargers back one day because of failure, I wouldn't have a bad place in mind. But even if it's a new team for you guys, you get a brand new franchise, it's an upstart thing, at least, like you're saying, you're going to back them. That's a positive outlook. Yeah. That's a really good way of looking at it, and I respect that.
Yeah, it's so much to think about. I will tell you this. It is really different for people who live here than it is for a real fan, a displaced fan. It's just different. It's a heartbreak for them. But in a slip of an eye, they're going to back the team because it's still the Chargers, and Phillip's on the team, and, Gatesy's on the team, and Gordon. But it's just so different being here and spending your money. Not that y'all don't spend money on your displaced team, as a displaced fan. It's such a different heartbreak. It's a heartbreak for everybody, but it's such a different heartbreak because it's embedded here. We see it daily. We see it on the vehicles. We see it on the billboards. We see it in our stores. We see the players. Oh, my God, they live here. It's just – now Phillip has to move his 8 kids.
God. Yeah. Let's think about that.
Yeah, a lot. A lot. And it's a much more expensive market. The head coach is automatically going to make more money coming in than he would have gotten if we just stayed here. I mean, that's just a given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the selling point, though, to this whole thing, Rachelle, was I keep hearing it over and over from the Chargers organization. It's just to drive up the coast. Not a problem for you guys. It's simple.
That's
just drive
just
up the
2
coast.
hours, That's nothing.
Yes, it's not that bad. It's what they're trying to sell you on. I'm like, that's a bunch
Let
of
me tell you something about 2-hour drive. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not a 2-hour drive. That's 2 hours without traffic.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's right. And the traffic in L.A. is terrible.
Traffic. I'm telling you, it is easier for me to drive to Vegas 312 miles away than it is for me to go 180 miles up north. It is easier. Yeah, it's crazy. I'll say this, referring to if the Chargers ever come back here. John Spanos, Baby Spanos we call him, he never wanted to go. He was vocal. He actually came out and said, even against his dad, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. Dean will be turning over all of it to them. He's 67 years old, Dean Spanos. He's going to be turning it all over to them. Now, there is a rule in the NFL. Once you relocate, plus you're paying the relocation fee, you get 10 years to pay it off. There's a rule. You cannot sell relocate and then try and sell your team for financial gain. So I don't know how many years it is. I think it's 10 before you can move your team again with another relocation fee, blah, 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 blah. But I don't put it past the baby to come back here if things don't work out. I really don't put it past him to try and get back here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope for your sake that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. The NFL owners didn't back this. Roger Goodell, his first press release was, we wanted the Chargers to stay in the community. Now his second press release is, Dean, he did everything he could. Please. Dean was spat upon here, I will tell you, when he tried this. Listen, when you go for a new stadium, and San Diego's beautiful, and they look at they go, what do you need a new stadium for? Well, the NFL told us we needed a new stadium. The NFL, people with the money, they said, we will not be back until you build a new stadium. You will not get another Super Bowl. So 2003 was the last Super Bowl. Well, when they tell you won't be back, there's your money, there's your experience. There's not a head coach, an owner, or a fan that doesn't want to come see a game in San Diego just to come to San Diego. And when they tell you that, you get on it and start a new stadium. Well, he started this in the 90s, and we had crooked city council members. So I feel your pain about this woman who said no about Dallas. And two of them are in jail. So he had the wrong people in place when he tried this. This time, I'm really perplexed because he had the right people in place. But Dean wanted it for free. The city is not willing to sell him the property. And I don't blame the city. The city owns it. So it's really a hard spot for Dean because let's build a stadium and then I'm going to pay you rent for money, taking my money to help build your stadium. It's really tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a tough one. I just hope that, I don't understand why the NFL has to have them go right now. Like, the stadium's not built until 2019. Why can't you give the team until at least next year? I know you got to have at least some time to move everybody and everything. You don't want to be moving.
I 100% agree with you, John.
Yeah.
I 100%. He should have stayed to his lease. He should have stayed to the lease of 2020 if he wanted to move by the 19th and play here. Let us keep enjoying our Chargers here. Let them keep their families here because if he would say I'm leaving and play here, no one's going to buy a ticket. They're still going to do what they did, burn the jerseys and all the social media. But don't let us know you're doing that.
I don't know about that, though. Like, I think they're going to want to come for that. If they say, okay, you're going to have one final year in 2018, and then we for sure are moving, I still think they would come. Like, you'll still come support your team.
Well, my point was, if you tell them 2-3 years ahead of time, no, they won't. They're mad, because people already started not coming from last year, a whopping 4 wins, and then the last game with Miami, when the guys came out and stayed on that field. Weddle started, and he went off to the Ravens, but Phillip didn't leave. Antonio didn't leave. They didn't leave the field. They signed everything because we really thought he's going to pick L.A. We're not coming back. Well, they even asked him this year before our last game, are you going to go out? And he goes, no, we did that, and we, we're not going to relive that. We already felt that. We did feel that. Now I'm sick to my stomach that my last game was my last game. It was my last game, and I didn't even think it was going to be my last game.
Yeah, just because I guess this season you didn't really know, right? It's
all about money. We know it's business, and so I can't be mad at Spanos. He tried. He had idiots in place before. He's got someone now that's clapping back a little bit. I'm mad at him for going downtown. If he would have came back to the Valley, still I wouldn't have gotten to vote because it's in Mission Valley. It would have been a big difference. I think people who don't care about the Chargers, who get to vote, would have said, okay, if they're going to leave it there and it's not going to cost us and they're going to put the vote, okay, maybe. There's just so many uneducated people, and then people that don't care, who don't really realize the ramifications year down the road when you're not here and your child has children, they happen to like football and want to attend these venues. Well, you didn't put that in place for them. You snatched it from them because they were A, uneducated, or B, the most important one, pissed at Spanos.
What did you think about the San Diego mayor and his comments about San Diego, about the fact that San Diego didn't lose the Chargers, but the Chargers lost San Diego?
He's so pissed. There's so much ego involved here. I like Kevin because I really believe he's been on board. Again, he was pushing for Mission Valley, and Dean said, no, I went downtown. And again, he left for Carson because he didn't get downtown, came back and asked for the same thing. He's pissed. He found out through the media. He didn't even get a courtesy call. Dean didn't. Phillip Rivers got a phone call 10 minutes before they were told. At least they told the quarterback. I thought, wow, at least you're not in an honored spot. You're in an honored spot. They didn't tell anybody. So The mayor's just pissed. A lot of work, and he wanted the stadium here, and I think he's saying we'll get a team. And he's blaming Dean that he didn't want to work it out because the way Dean finally did leave. But he was also put under the gun from the NFL. I don't know why the NFL just didn't say, listen, your measure didn't pass. You spent $14 million of your own money to put this on the ballot. Let's just give you a pushback. If you're not working out. And Eric Grubman, he told me to my face my question at the town hall meeting in Spreckles in October of 16. I said to him, will you step in and help if they're butting heads? Will you step in? Do you care enough about this franchise? He goes, we do. We will mediate. I will absolutely step in and mediate and help them get it done. Those were his words. Well, that didn't come to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a shame. It really is, and there's a lot involved that people don't get a chance to hear, or see. Right. And I appreciate you sharing that because it's so interesting to really get down to in depth on what's really happening here. Because people are just thinking that San Diego didn't want to pay the money in general. That's not true. It's not everybody. No. Like you said, even the mayor's upset about this. And people like me, I was uneducated about this. I didn't know who was all. I kind of thought the whole entire city council, everybody was just against the Chargers. And from what you're telling me, I mean, there's a lot more support there than what we're hearing nationally.
Yes, 100%. Now, egos are big time involved too, which I think it's a shame. It's just a shame that the egos are inflated and involved. But Dean doesn't. Let's just say what it is. Dean Spanos, in the fish pond of all the NFL owners, is the baby billionaire, the bottom of the money, bucket. He just doesn't want to give it up. And that's how we perceive it. But when you're trying to work with him, why not just put it in Mission Valley? I just don't get why he doesn't want where it is. And that's the part that's killing me. And again, here's why. I'll answer my own question. He doesn't want to pay all that money and then have to rent from the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the guys,
understandable too.
Los Angeles is so, grand. Isn't that the guys that people, like especially the, guys like him, like Dean, they kind of feel like, man, Los Angeles is such a large city. People are going to support it. It's going to be big. It's going to be celebrities. We're going to have celebrities at our games. We're going to have Kanye West, repping our Chargers jerseys. We're going to have this and that. I think it's the glitz and glamour, too, that he kind of looked at. And I'm sure he's got people tugging on his coattail saying, hey, look over here. You could have, Kevin Sorbo show up at your show or all your games and all this. And that's part of this whole thing where I think Mission Valley would be good for us, people that, love to go to games, but I think it's the glitz and glamour is a part of this. I don't know.
Inglewood? You know where Inglewood is? It's like,
well, I know Inglewood's not the best, but I'm just saying it's Los Angeles, though. Still, you're going to have people come. I mean,
here's what I agree with you on. The fact is, it's a brand new stadium. Everybody wants to see a new stadium. Who doesn't want to see a new stadium? Who doesn't want to have an NFL experience in a beautiful, state-of-the-art, brand new stadium? Who's going to get a Super Bowl? He's going to be part of that. And it was going to be years. Let me tell you this. If Measure C would have passed, 2025 would have been our opening day. 2025. They would have had to move the entire San Diego bus system because that's where the stadium is going. And that takes 7 years to move that. All the buses that go all the way up to Riverside County, all the way down to Mexico. That had to be moved for our stadium to be built downtown. 2025. 2025 or 2019? 2025 or 2019? He's 67. It had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. That also makes a difference, being able to be alive for that time for that
100%.
guy.
100%. Yeah. That's why I say, he's getting ready to give it over to the boys, but can you imagine the relocation fee to come back? Holy crap! It's enormous to move.
Did you any thoughts on them playing in a soccer stadium? A small soccer stadium.
Here's what will happen with that. It will look full because it's less than it's not even 30. It's 27,200 seats, 10,000 parking spots. no shade. I'm too old now to sit in the sun all day. I used to bake in it in my 20s and 30s. In Carson, it's horrible. Who knows? Disgruntled Rams fan, maybe? I don't know. I can't even imagine. It's not L.A. It's Carson. It's not what you think of, what you were saying, the glitz and the glamour. It's far from it. It's kind of Skid Row, if you will. And I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you but as I see it. It's horrible. But we also know it's temporary. So you get 27,000 people. If it's full, it would be fun. It would be a fun experience because it's intimate. When's the last time you've been to an intimate, gathering like that? It's usually an outdoor amphitheater concert, if you can fill it. You won't get San Diegans to go. 25% of our season ticket holders, 25% were from Riverside County. Not Orange County, not Los Angeles County, Riverside County, which is attached to San Diego. So, I don't know. Those 25%, I believe, will go.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what kind of interests me, too, of how many really will say, you know what, no matter what, we're diehard, we'll make the investment, we're going to do it. And there will be those, like you're saying, and it's not as nice a part of town. I know about Inglewood only through rap music, so I'm sorry that I don't know what yeah. But that's always, and I know it's not the best part of, the city, but, whatever, Los Angeles County, all that stuff. But my point about it is I still think that there are going to be people that are still going to show up. They're, going to flaunt. And they're also going to be guys, like I said, Kevin Sorbo, a B actor. If you don't try to be there and get his face seen out there again, even though it's not, where the Rams are playing, I think that it's going to be kind of, that whole thought process of we're going to have L.A. attached to our name. No matter where we are, it's going to have that brand.
100%. You know why? Because look at our nation and then look at the Lakers. Look at the Knicks. Really, those are the only two teams where you see the stars come out will be L.A. or New York. You got so many other good teams in Cleveland. They only flew to Cleveland. They don't even go to watch LeBron, They only flew there because they're in the finals to get their little face on there, and they get these courtside seats. So I agree with that being seen thing, 100%.
Yeah, it's still a shame though, and it's just like you said. I mean, the smaller stadium is going to look fuller. People are going to be, just out there, doing their thing, and just kind of seeing the new experience. But my fear for, these Chargers is the fact that they're going to have a year that they're probably going to have a decent attendance. You're going to have those 25% of the season ticket holders from San Diego will be appearing and paying their normal money. And then you're going to have maybe 10% of the Los Angeles crowd who says, hey, I've been a Chargers fan forever. Yay, I finally get a, just go see him. And then the rest of that is just going to be fair weather fans who come and check out the show. And then the next year, if they're not any good, are they going to show up? I don't know. I have a high doubt on that. And then you may even lose season ticket holders if it's not good enough. So that's my biggest fear for these Chargers is that even though that stadium is small and it's going to look full this year, what about next year? That's the thing. You got to think about after this next year in 2018, 2019, if you're not successful, that small little stadium is still going to look small in crowd-wise.
Yeah. Oh, it happened to Kroenke this year. He didn't have the turnout that he did at the beginning of the year. Why? Football's back. Football's back in L.A. Why isn't it full? You're losing? You're not a diehard? What happened? The writing is already on the wall. You're 100% right.
Yeah, exactly. It all depends really on how both teams do from these years and they're not in their stadium until when they get in that stadium. Because you keep losing and you go into that stadium and you lose some more. I don't know how that looks terrible on you, especially when you both of them make new coaching hires that you will assume will be the coaches when they go into those new stadiums as well. So.
And doesn't the Rams have the youngest coach now in NFL history? The Chargers held it at one time at age 40. Now he's 30.
Yeah, McVay, he's 30. Yeah, that's crazy. He's gonna be younger than probably about half those players on that team.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to get respect.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was a manager in Safeway for years, and I got put in at age 21. I had people 45, 50 years old, head of produce department. It was very hard. It's very hard. You have to have the right personality. You have to have the right makeup, the persona. You've got to have a great attitude because it's tough. It's tough to get respect from people who, when you're so young.
Oh, exactly. I mean, wasn't there another coach that was 35 and he had that same problem? I don't remember who it was, but basically that was the issue, was that he couldn't really command this respect from the players that were, all the veterans were close to his age or even older. And, obviously he's coming from a situation in Washington where I don't know how much credit he gets for Kirk Cousins and that offense, but we'll see. He does have a, much respected Wade Phillips sitting there, sort of mentoring him on the defensive side. So
yeah. Hey, Sean, I want to talk about real quick one other thing that just really, really just gets my craw. When they announced at 8 o'clock in the morning that logo that came out, the minute I saw it, the color and the Dodgers. So my thinking immediately was, you son of a bitch, here's what you're trying to do. And I posted it right away. I said, he's trying to get the Dodgers to jump on board the Charger bandwagon instead of the Ram bandwagon. It was so look-alike and ugly. It looked like a 5-year-old did it. And you went, oh, isn't that pretty? Let's put it on the refrigerator. And then, you alluded to how many times they've changed it. Now it's in the powder blue and gold. That hurt me as a fan, as a season ticket holder, as a lover of the history of the Chargers, that was thought out ahead of time. That was ready to go when he announced they're moving. I thought, oh my God. I mean, it was like a big FU.
Yeah, I mean, why do you have to have a logo that quick?
He didn't. And I thought that was a huge mistake on his part. Huge mistake. Now, today, he's got Los Angeles Chargers in the logo that the San Diego Chargers were, with the Chargers and the gold stripe through it. That's what he's gone to. That's what he should have come out with, and before all this other crap, because that would have been not even I wouldn't even thought about it. Wouldn't even have thought about it. But that logo, it was such a slap in the face and ugly. Not because I don't like the Dodgers and I'm a Padre fan. Come on. It really, the meaning behind it and what he's trying to do with it, so wrong. So wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, it's like I just got a divorce, but I'm going to be with the woman right after, the next day.
Right. Exactly. The very next day in public, I'm with my new hot girlfriend. You don't do that. Yeah, exactly. Really hurtful. And the children, were left behind.
Oh, exactly.
My new hottie.
Yeah, we're just like totally not caring about the kids right now. Just well, Rachelle, you got any predictions for the games?
Well, for the playoffs?
Yeah, for the playoffs.
I want Kansas City. I'm an AFC baby. You guys will probably ream me for this, but we did have I'm going to say it. You're going to say no. It's the toughest division.
No, you know what? I don't know how you can disagree with that. That is the toughest division.
I mean, even as losers, we were good. I mean, you know what I mean? We had the toughest division. And I love Derek Carr, but I can't stand the Raiders. I mean, I adore him. Everything about him, everything he does in his community. He lives in Bakersfield. I'll never root for the Raiders. We have the toughest division. And I really want to see Alex. I want to see my hometown boy do well. I'm laughing all the way at the 49ers that they ever let go of him over Kaepernick, who can't stand for our flag. You kneel for the fallen, and you stand for our flag. That piece of crap. So I'm really rooting for my conference, and B, I really want to see him do well. I think it's a great organization. I knew if we didn't win our first game, our whole year was going to be completely different. We almost had it. We should have had it. It should not have been a win on their part, but it was. And I really, really like him. I really like I just like everything about the coach. I like everything about him, except for their stupid, disrespectful land of the Chiefs that they yell out in the national anthem. We're a military town, and they do that, and it's so disrespectful during the national anthem. It's just it's the worst thing ever. So that's how I feel. Who do you want to win, Sean?
Well, I mean, if you're asking us who we want to win, you already know what our answer is. Who do we think is going to win? I think neither one of us actually picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, so, you know, I'm hoping that we're defying the odds here and getting there.
So Rachelle, you've already voted for the Chiefs to move on. Okay, so I'm assuming, are you like the rest of the nation, Patriots beat Houston this weekend?
Well, yeah. I mean, come on. What do they really have? I mean, yes.
Okay, so we'll move on then. Let's move some harder games to talk about. Seattle versus Atlanta. How do you feel about that one?
I think Seattle will take it. I really like Matt Ryan. I just don't think they're going to do it. I think Seattle will be in the Super Bowl.
Oh wow! So Sean, let's see if she breaks our hearts. Yeah, Sean has. Yep, exactly. Sean had Seattle too. So if you guys are right, you're going to make me look a little silly because I really feel like Atlanta offense is hot right now, and I don't know. It's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. But the other one, the one that we're going to find out if you're going to break Sean and I's heart is Cowboys versus Packers. How do you feel about that one?
I have to go with the Packers. Sorry. I know.
Because of Aaron Rodgers?
Okay, here's the deal. He lives here in Del Mar with Philip. He's here year-round. Drew Brees lives here. Did you guys know his home is here? He's only in Louisiana in the off-season. They still live here. We didn't even talk about the Charger blood drive, everything the Chargers used to do for the city. That just makes me sick thinking about it. Aaron Rodgers. I think the Packers have the better team. I just don't look at their first 5-6 games. Oh, God. Aaron said it. They were bashing him. NFL was bashing him. Social media was bashing him. And all he said was, relax. Well, apparently relax worked.
Well, fair enough. I mean, that's your pick. And so I just kind of interested. I mean, everybody has their take on it. So, there you go. So, I mean,
I really
Sean
don't
and
care. You're asking me to pick. I got so much going on. When you have your team, you really don't care. I don't care until the last two are in there. Then I'll tell you I care. I'll pick a team who I want to really take it. Because I don't care. It's not my team.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, you cheer for somebody because you wish it was you. So if it was me, then, but I think it'll be Seattle. I don't know who the other one will be, though.
Man, do you think Alex could go in there and make Tom Brady sad this year? Do you think he could actually go in there and the Patriots could lose to the Chiefs?
God, I would love that. No, but I would love that.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, really. Listen, there's my Phillip. Still, passer rating. He was top 2. Breeze last year. Phillip, then Brady, the lady. And then this year, he still made number 5. Okay, let's not talk about his interception.
Brady, the lady.
So,
I like that.
In the grand scheme of things in the LA market, obviously the Chargers have the better quarterback. If everybody's healthy, we're going to have the better team. Clearly going to have the better team. Don't know about the coaching. That's, to be seen. Who knows?
Well, Rachelle, it has been sad and very informative talking to you, getting that whole how it feels from the fans' perspective of what's going on. And, man, we learned so much here just listening to you. So much we didn't know, and that they won't even talk about. Honestly, I don't think I've read anything concerning that whole thing about certain parts of the city couldn't vote and all that stuff. I mean, amazing insight here. Thank you, Rachelle, as always. You're always fun to have on here.
I appreciate it, Sean. And again, thanks for reaching out to me. That was kind. You're a football fan. I know, not a Chargers fan. That meant a lot. I mean, actually, I'll tell you this. You popped up on my messenger, and I didn't even know what you were popping up about. So, yeah. Thanks for that, too. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. I knew it had to be hurting at that point. I was like, oh man,
God.
I feel bad for her.
Debilitating. I thank you, guys.
Thank you again.
Thanks, Cheryl.
All right. Have a great 2017 season. I don't know what I'll be doing.
We'll keep in touch. We'll find out this next year.
All right. I'm going to go to the away games and actually take pictures and show you. Here I am supporting my Chargers at the away games. God.
I love it.
All right.
You should go to Cowboy Stadium. You know, you can meet Gary there.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
There you go.
All right.
One of my away games.
Great.
Awesome. All right. Later, Rachelle.
All right. Thanks so much. Good night.
Well, that was Rachelle Carpenter, since 1978, a San Diego Chargers season ticket holder. Her family owns season tickets. It's quite an amazing story she has as a fan, and just an amazing story the Chargers have as a team. And it's sad that they never got to win one of the big ones in their history, to have that to look back on as a team before heading out. But we do have to move on. I don't know if we really didn't get to talk too much about. I don't know if you wanted to talk about something about Anthony Lynn at all. I was trying to get her to say something. She obviously in distress.
Yeah, no. I mean, Anthony Lynn, it's going to be an interesting situation with him. I'm really looking forward to kind of finding out really what comes out of that. But, I think really it's a sit back and wait thing, because of the fact that he's had, what success he's had in the NFL, but it's still very limited. And I just don't think we know enough. I have a lot of questions right now as I sit here. And so I think this is a move in the direction of, hey, this is potential. This is a guy that's got some great ability to lead. He's got a lot of smarts about him. He seems like he's going to fit this organization, but at the same point, I just don't know that right now, and I don't want to put negative things out there about the guy, because honestly, it's kind of hard to be negative when he hasn't even really been in his office. So, I don't know. How do you feel? Did you wanted to specifically say about that?
I mean, I do think it's a little worrisome when I know the Bills wanted to hire him, but it's different when you've been there for a year and you know those players, the players know you know what you're getting with that offense with him there. Mm-hmm. I do worry about, man, he wasn't even there a full year with the Bills, and the San Diego's already making this hire. You mean to tell me there was nobody else you could have brought to the Chargers that perhaps brought a little bit more experience, or brought something that could really help them? I didn't think offense was the problem for the Chargers last year.
Yeah. Well, by stating, Wade Phillips, you may not have to worry about that. That may be a situation where Lynn's not really having to concern himself with the defense so much. And you're right, the offense was not a problem with San Diego as much. But I mean, you've got a guy that he's young, he's got the ability to come in there and maybe add some wrinkles that they really didn't have last year that could boost them even more to make this offense from good to really good. And I don't know that's going to happen. Once again, I just look at from their eyes, from the GM's point of view, from the owners, what they're expecting out of this guy, and they feel like bringing Wade Phillips in. Defense is taking care of this guy.
Oh, Wade Phillips is going to the Rams.
Oh, that he was going to San Diego.
No. He's
then they're screwed.
That's why they hired Sean McVay for the Rams, because they knew they were going to get Wade Phillips to mentor him over there.
See, I had heard before this that Wade Phillips. I haven't even heard it. I haven't even read this yet. I heard that Wade Phillips was also in thought process of going to San Diego. So that was the wrong LA I was reading about. But in the long run, I don't know. I'm kind of curious now because you're right. This is a silly situation if you got an offensive guy coming into a team that's doing well in offense, but their defense really needs help. So that does make me a little bit worrisome. But there are still some defensive coaches out there, that could be quality grabs. So I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I was really hoping Wade Phillips was the guy because I could see San Diego, getting better really quickly with Wade Phillips. But I guess the Rams just got a lot better. But Lynn, once again, I mean, I'm kind of curious why he didn't stay in Buffalo, but there's also been a lot of talk about the situation of Buffalo is not as pretty as it sounds at the GM spot.
Well, I mean, Buffalo already has their coach. So.
I know, but saying that they didn't choose, I was thinking that Buffalo was really looking at Lynn just to enter him. I thought they were going to bring him. Just all the discussions I've heard over these past 2 weeks. It's been really confusing. Honestly, these hiring coaches have really been out the wazoo weird. It's almost like they're knee-jerk reaction head coach signings. I don't know about you. That's kind of the way I'm feeling.
I agree with you. All this just seems very like, let's grab the first guy. But that's also when you don't have any real big names totally out there either. They're people are going for the, what was the sexy name this season? It's for the Broncos it was, let's go get Vance Joseph from Miami,
which made no sense at all.
Which okay. I mean, the Miami defense was they were good. I wouldn't say they were great, but whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's supposed to help on the offensive side too, and they already announced quarterback competition for Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian, as we expected, as anybody pretty much expected at this point. I mentioned Sean McVay coming from the Redskins to go over to the Rams, where, again, you never really know who gets all the credit for when an offense does certain things, unless you're like an Adam Gase, where you're obviously the guy that's running it and also calling the plays and all that kind of stuff. I just wonder sometimes, is this going to be a hire that winds up hurting them in the end? What's he going to be able to do are they hoping that basically what we got out of Kirk Cousins is what you get out of Jared Goff? I don't know. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it is. And you're talking about Kirk Cousins, who's been in the league and who's really honestly had that time to grow. Now you're expecting to get exactly the same sample and take it over there and take it, and Goff's going to just match that exact sample. That's not true of most situations. It sounds great, but that doesn't always transfer over. So I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying don't be shocked if this is something where, Jared Goff is nothing like Kirk Cousins. What happened? He's got the same coach that Kirk Cousins had. That means nothing. It's all about what Jared Goff wants to put into it. It's about his ability, So I'm curious of how that, will take place, but I just am really kind of wondering what their thought process with that was, too, besides Jared Goff. I mean, I think there's got to be more than just Jared Goff involved, but maybe not.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they're also hoping, we're getting Todd Gurley on track and basically the offense to be an offense, right? Because they were running, I don't know what that was in Los Angeles last year. So
I don't know why, and I guess they don't let him talk to him before the season's over because the Atlanta Falcons are still playing. But Kyle Shanahan, that's a name that I'd be very interested in. A huge, especially when I need help on offense. So that I don't know why some of these teams aren't holding on. I just don't understand why the knee-jerk reaction. It just bugs me.
Yeah, I can totally see your point there about it. Why it bugging you? I mean, and the Bills also made a weird higher they go higher. The Carolina Panthers, Sean McDermott, their defensive coordinator, I don't remember the Bills' defense being the problem last year.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it sort of being, well, you know, the offense, I mean, the running game was great, and yeah, Sammy Watkins got hurt. A lot of unfortunate things happened for the Bills to get Rex Ryan fired because, you know, maybe Sammy Watkins healthy all year. You're talking about a different team. You're talking about a different offense. So, and they had already fired Greg Roman, who also got hired somewhere. I can't remember where now at this point. But it's a bit weird. Like everybody's going for who's the young gun. You know, Josh McDaniel's still out there. People are going crazy over him. People are trying to get Kyle Shanahan from Atlanta. So, I mean, we're not done here, probably, with this.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Greg Roman went to Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Okay. Huh. That's interesting. I was kind of curious about that, too. I think what we're learning here, and just to speak of this overall, is I think, a lot of these GMs, a lot of these owners are kind of looking at these sexy names that they feel like, oh, people have been talking about this guy. Oh, well, we got to get him here before anybody else gets him. And then I think you're also looking at a lot of people who kind of view leadership as the most important thing. So you're getting like Sean McDermott going to Buffalo, even though he is a defensive guy, and the defense hasn't been the biggest problem. They feel like his leadership is more important than what position that he has been, coaching in. So I think that's a good way of looking at it compared to the vice versa of, hey, let's just get the best name out there that's out there available at this minute. I think that could bite some of these teams in the butt, only because of the fact that, I think patience is everything when it comes to making decisions. And if you're not patient and you're making those knee-jerk reactions, you're going to sign these coaches on for, at least 2 years, if not more, and then you're going to be wanting to fire him the next because you realized, oh my God, what was I thinking? This guy is not even getting his team to respect him. So I could be completely wrong. That's just kind of the way I feel.
No, I totally get you. I mean, you just never know. It's a total crapshoot sometimes and sometimes you just get guys get fired, and it's not really their fault, but they got to find a scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
Or they already fired the GM, so now they got to fire the coach because they got a new GM, and that GM don't want that coach, and it's always some carousel that goes around with that too. It's so weird.
And, the one team I know we're going to move on, but the one team I'm really curious is San Francisco because they won a marriage of a GM and coach that already love each other. And I don't know where they're going to find that. I mean, they may, but that's going to be one of those interesting stories I can't wait to read about. So that's just another one. We'll look forward to that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Josh McDaniels or Kyle Shanahan, though, do I really want to go there?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
That's a issue in of itself, but yeah, I mean, so let's get into actually talking about these playoff games here. The first one, the theory I've been told here is that they assume people are going to be going out on Saturday night, so they think that Tom Brady and the Patriots will be able to pull those fans in, even though they're playing Houston. So they decided to have the much sexier matchup, the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. These two teams have played each other before, and Matt Ryan beat Russell Wilson in 2012 during Wilson's rookie year. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see what comes off here because you've got two teams that are sort of mirror images as far as, okay, well, the one weakness this team has, it's the strength of the other team, and vice versa. So, is it going to come down to it's in Atlanta, which potentially, if Atlanta loses here, this is the last game in the Georgia Dome?
Wow, that is interesting. I didn't think about that. Huh. It's crazy. It's going to be sad.
Yeah, I had to do a hit on a radio show, Steve Smith's radio show, and he mentioned that, and I was like, man, I didn't think about that either. Like, nobody's talking about it. I guess because they assume that the Atlanta's at least going to go on, But even if they go on to the conference championship, then they're playing in Dallas. That'll be the last game in the Georgia Dome. So it's crazy. But what do you think here? Obviously, you kind of got to throw out that early game because you had different players that you don't have right now, or players that you didn't have in that game that you do have now. And just totally two different teams. What do you see going on here?
This is a really difficult matchup, and it really is. And I know a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, well, why don't you just pick, the Atlanta Falcons immediately?" I mean, look at their offense and what they've been doing. But then you got to give all the respect to Seattle too. They deserve it. They've been here before. This is, I guess the Dr. Philism. This is not the first rodeo, and it's not. These guys have been to Super Bowls. They've been in high pressure playoff games. And this defense is not much different. It's just they're lacking a really important piece, Thomas. But here's the bottom line. I think it's going to be a more difficult game for both teams. I look at Seattle and what they're going to do to protect Russell Wilson from Vic Beasley, and that is the fact that they're going to run the ball, and then pass when they can and figure things out. I mean,
and what Thomas Rawls are we going to get?
Yeah, exactly. That's another big thing is Thomas Rawls going to come out and be beast mode 2.0, whatever, or is he going to be just like the guy that just, runs the ball? Not anybody special, just a guy, very average. And is CJ
Prosise did game time.
Yeah, that's exactly, I wanted to point that out because CJ Prosise, if he does end up playing in this game, is he a decoy? Does he make the Atlanta Falcons defense worry? And I could see them using him as a decoy, even if he doesn't get a lot of snaps. So that's a big thing here. I'm going to go ahead and bet my money on Atlanta, though, because I look at what's going to go on in this game. And what's going to go on is that the Atlanta Falcons defense is not going to be great. But I'm really expecting the Atlanta Falcons offense to be a little bit better. And I think they're going to be a little bit better than Seattle and what they have to offer. I think because they're balanced, their running game and their passing game does a great job of keeping defenses off balance. And for the fact that I really feel like even, though they're a good defense, losing Thomas, it's just going to be a big deal. It really is. They can outgun what Seattle has. So that's the way I'm going. I'm leaning towards. Now, I'm not going to say it's a blowout. It will not be a blowout if you ask me. I'm looking at more like a 27-23 game.
Yeah, I'm still going to, stick with my pick here of, Seattle that I made on the previous podcast where we previewed games and went through the whole playoffs. I just think at the end of the day, when it comes down to crunch time, yes, you're away from home, which is a factor for Seattle. They don't score as many points. They score like 10 points less than they do in Seattle, which is a total help for Atlanta. But, historically in the playoffs, you do have a Matt Ryan that commits turnovers. That can cause issues for you. You have a Russell Wilson that, like you said, all the experience, and he's been here. He's been against the odds, and he overcomes them, even if he has to run for his life half the time or whatever. He's got capable guys in Doug Baldwin and Curse, even without Lockett there. And I think, also, I think we have to consider is, if that running game comes to fruition for Thomas Rawls or whatever, that's a dynamic that wasn't there, and you have to honor that if you're Atlanta. And now you can't go around blitzing Russell Wilson or whatever because they're going to keep you honest. I mean, Atlanta, the same thing, though. You've got the two-headed monster there running the ball. You got Matt, is Sherman going to be able to shadow Julio Jones? This is going to come down, I think, to, who makes the least amount of mistakes. And, I don't know. I put my money on Seattle when it comes to something like that.
And I respect it. I really do. So, like I said, this is tough for me. It's not an easy pick. But I'll just say this. My last comment about this game is I think that my X factor and the guy that's going to put over Atlanta is Taylor Gabriel. I think he's going to be a big deal. I think Seattle is going to have a little bit more difficult time with him than they're coming in and expecting. And I think he could be the guy that maybe scores the game-winning touchdown or something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. This is gonna be a great game to watch and enjoy there in the early part of Saturday. Then when you get to that late Saturday game, and you get the New England Patriots at home against the Houston Texans team that they blanked early in the season with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, Gary. So now bring in Tom Brady, my lord. I don't know. I just don't know now. You do have a Jadeveon Clowney who is playing so well right now. I mean, he is playing up to that number one pick level that, you drafted him at finally, Whitney Merciless. If Brock Osweiler can, the thing is, they're going to take away your best asset, which is DeAndre Hopkins. And that's who Brock Osweiler was throwing the ball to in the previous game. And guess what? That means they're probably going to get the Brock Osweiler just throws it to C.J. Fedorowicz 30 times. And when that happens, the Texans just don't play as well. So I don't know. Just Bill Belichick, I think it's going to be too good here for Bill O'Brien. Out coaching, you got the Patriots offense that's going to be, you might get to Tom Brady sometimes, but eventually he's going to hurt you. And I think it's going to be too many times for the Texans to overcome.
I think there's two big factors in this game, and I completely agree with what you just said. And the two big factors for me and what's going to maybe cause the Patriots to get all the love and all the respect and then earn it on Saturday is the fact that I look at the first one. It's Brock Osweiler, the great mighty Pooh. He is going to find himself, like you said, finding out that he is just not up to snuff, that he can't do it, that, it's not going to be all about him. It's going to have to be about other people, because if it's not, then they don't win the game. And I just think that he's going to either make mistakes or Lamar Miller can't bail him out and run enough and get good enough, to outdo his performance so that he don't have to worry about being the star. I look at this as the big deal, though, and this is the bigger part for me. It's not even about Tom Brady. Everybody keeps saying Tom Brady, that's what's going to win him this game. I don't know. Maybe he is. It's not him. It's LeGarrette Blount. What I look at in this game is that when Brock Osweiler goes 3 and out, or when he has a short series and he can't keep moving the ball for the Houston Texans, LeGarrette Blount is going to wear out the Houston Texans defense. I think they're good defense. They're definitely, credible. I love Clowney. I love everything that they brought. But I think that's going to take pressure off of Tom Brady and just keep Clowney in check. And LeGarrette Blount's going to do what he does in every postseason, right? Pound the ball, break for long runs, make good defenses look kind of like they're not good. And I look at that as being a big situation. I think, it wouldn't surprise me if LeGarrette Blount didn't have 3 touchdowns in this game and Tom Brady has 1. I just feel that way. I think he's going to be a big factor in this game. And, we're going to have the Patriots still win. Maybe not by 28, but they still win somehow. And it's going to be, not somehow. I shouldn't say that. They're going to win no matter what, I feel. If Houston wins this game, guys, wow, I think the nation will be turned on their head.
Everybody is going to be turned on their head at this point. I think the Houston Texans fans are going to be turned on their head. So after this, you move on to 2 incredible games happening on Sunday. The early game is the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Arrowhead to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Oh, whoa. You've got a quarterback in Alex Smith who's actually a pretty good playoff quarterback. People underrate how good he is in the playoffs. Big Ben doesn't always play well when he gets away from Heinz Field. You've got, what are you going to do with the killer bees? Because can the Chiefs stop Le'Veon Bell? Nobody's really been able to stop Le'Veon Bell. And, Antonio Brown. The Chiefs do have a corner that is actually, he could be his equal in this game, but when you get down to it, trying to stop Antonio Brown's always a tough ask. And I just, man, I feel like I got to stick with my Chiefs pick because I think at the end of the day, you still got Justin Houston, you got the secondary, you got guys that can pressure Ben Roethlisberger, and if anything, they can always cover, and you've got a decent offense. But it's so hard. If I had to count on one guy, whether it's Le'Veon Bell or Tyreek Hill, I kind of have to want to go with Le'Veon Bell. But man, I guess I'm just gonna stick with my Chiefs picks.
You make some great thoughts here and put them into play. I look at this as being a tough game, and the reason I say it's tough to pick because of the fact that I look at this Steelers offense, the fact that they can score on anybody in this league, and I look at the Houston Texans defense, I look at the Kansas City defense. Heck, I'll even go give love to the team that lost last week and maybe New York's defense and say this team is going to score on them no matter what, no matter how good that they play, and no matter what they do, they're going to score on them, and I truly believe that. But at the end of the day, how much are they going to score on this Chiefs defense, who is, really credible, really tough? And then the other thing is how much can Kansas City score on their offense? Now, that's the big key for me. Really, how much can they do it? I've really underestimated the Steelers defense, and I don't really think that they're just amazing. Trust me, I think they still have a lot of weaknesses, but they seem to have been picking up their pace. They seem to be getting tighter. And I think they're rallying around each other. They're seeing off the field issues that are going on with their own coaching staff, and Joey Porter, and some of the other things. People discrediting their head coach. My God, I've heard so much Mike Tomlin hate as of late. It just amazes me. I'm surprised that they're not kissing his rear end like they used to. And now he's getting all this hate. I think this team, and this Steelers team, and that defense especially, is going to rally around their head coach, around all this terrible things going on off the field, and they're just going to say, we're going to play Steeler football. We're going to do whatever we can to stop this, the Chiefs offense that has actually done pretty well for itself. The big X factor, I think, in this game is Tyreek Hill. What Tyreek Hill are we going to get? Are we going to get the amazing superstar special teams, just amazing magician that he is? Or are we going to get Tyreek Hill, who's good, but isn't a game breaker? And I don't know which one we're going to get. I'm going to say Steelers here. I think Steelers offense is just going to be too much. I really love this Chiefs defense. I'm not taking anything away from them. I just don't believe personally that this Chiefs offense can keep up.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for that Chiefs offense to do it, but they have proven they can put up points, especially with Tyreek Hill when he gets his magic going. Will you be able to stop him? He's such a pivotal guy. He can play so many different positions for them. He's going to be a tough ass to stop, But now we move on to our Cowboys playing in Arlington in AT&T Stadium against an Aaron Rodgers-led Packers who are on fire coming in. The Cowboys obviously hold a win over the Packers earlier in the season when the Packers were in their phase of playing horribly. So you kind of feel like you got to throw it out the window. The Packers did get their running game going in garbage time. So you have to wonder how much that factors in. But the Cowboys, they have been much more consistent than the Packers this year at being able to stop the run. So you have to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to kind of go back to what he's usually used to. I don't have a running game. I'm going to have to pass. And I'm going to have to pass to Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, Jared Cook, everybody else. Are the Cowboys going to be able to stop them? And if you remember in the first game, the Packers couldn't stop Ezekiel Elliott. Honestly, Gary, the more and more I've looked at this, not just looking at the old game, but just looking at this matchup, the Packers have less ability to stop Ezekiel Elliott now than they did before. I don't know, other than, Ezekiel Elliott deciding that, he rear ends somebody near the practice facility, almost gets himself, injured or whatever. I don't see how the Packers are going to be able to do this. They could totally surprise, I guess, but I see it being a similar game to before. Ezekiel Elliott runs all over these guys. The Packers have to figure out with safeties playing corner, who they're going to take away. And this time you have Dez. You didn't have Dez last time. I don't want to say that it's not going to be a close game because it probably is, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Not saying as a Cowboys fan, but just this matchup doesn't work that well for the Packers.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, that point as well, and the fact that, Ezekiel Elliott is a special player. He proved it in, of course, our first matchup, and I think he's proven it to a lot of teams in this league. I want to rewind for all the Packers fans, and I understand, it's hard for Sean and I, really, because we're being as objective as possible. I really am. Trust me, if I wasn't, I would be sitting here wearing my hat and jersey and all that.
Do you worry at all about Ezekiel not playing all that time?
Well, I think that this is going to be the Ezekiel Elliott show. I think the other running backs on this roster of the Dallas Cowboys are going to probably see 10% of the carries. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to get a lot of carries. I think he's going to get a lot of the workload. I think they've been preparing him for this even before. I mean, maybe even that Detroit game where they, basically benched him early so he couldn't break the, rookie rushing record. Took that away from him so they could save him for the playoffs. And I know that's got to be the case. I wanted just to point out one thing, and the reason we're saying this, and I know people are like, oh, you guys are just hating because you're Cowboys. No, I want you to look at something. The teams that have beaten these Packers had running games, and a lot of them did. Look at Tennessee. DeMarco Murray did really, really well, and is a great running back, hurt the Packers. Even Robert Kelly, the Washington Redskins young guy, hurt them quite a bit. I mean, he really did. Those Atlanta Falcons we like to talk about with Devontae Freeman hurt the Packers. Just gave them the hardest time. The Cowboys, of course, are on that list as well. So there's a lot of teams with good running games that the Packers just have not beat. The last games that they played were against teams that did not really have a running game. We were talking about Chicago, all they have is the running game, but, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you look at the Vikings, who offense is challenged. Even, the Seahawks, all these teams that they played were not exactly the most juggernaut teams when it comes to running the ball. So I think that's a big deal here. I think another factor is the fact that the Cowboys have one thing to fear, and that's the taste of their own medicine. We already know we have to be scared of Aaron Rodgers. We know that. Aaron Rodgers is an amazing quarterback. I personally have not been a big fan of him personally, just him, not his play on the field. He's great as a player. His personal life, not a big fan of him. But at saying all that, we get it. He's a god. Okay, that's what the NFL has been telling us all week, that he's a god. But let's look at the running game. If Christian Michael, if Ty Montgomery, if those guys get hot and Dallas lets them start running the ball, they've got no shot. The Dallas Cowboys will have no shot in this game because Aaron Rodgers will be free to do whatever he wants. I don't really see that as happening. Dallas's run defense has been good all year. And so I don't have that fear. But if that does happen, let me tell you that, Packer fans, you guys are right. They're going to win. I think really what this comes down to is Aaron Rodgers keeping up and being on the field long enough. I think Ezekiel Elliott takes the carry and a lot of the load off Dak Prescott.
That was the thing in the first game, too, was Aaron Rodgers couldn't get on the field that much because Cowboys did their whole time possession, long drives, all that stuff.
Exactly. Cole Beasley was one of the bigger receivers here. People keep saying, well, Dez Bryant, they're going to make sure they double-team Dez Bryant. If you double-team Dez Bryant, if you keep 9 men in the box, 10 men in the box to keep Ezekiel under check, you're going to have Jason Witten, you're going to have Cole Beasley, you're going to have even Terrence Williams, who had a huge catch in that first matchup. And, of course, even in their playoff game, in 2014 had a big catch for a touchdown. These Dallas Cowboys are very balanced on offense, whereas the Packers are really not. They've depended on Aaron Rodgers for everything. You shut down Aaron Rodgers, the Packers don't have a shot. So it's going to be a good game. I'm not saying I'm sitting here saying the Cowboys are going to win 45-10. I think it's going to be a close game. I think what we're looking at here is going to be a fun, exciting game. I cannot wait, Sean. I've been waiting all week for this. I'm going to say that it will get into the high scoring, though. I think at the end of the day, though, it's going to be a 29-27 Cowboys victory.
Woo. Yeah. It could definitely get in that range, certainly. But there you have it. Those are our picks. And that's going to do it here for the Football to the Max for the preview edition. We'll be back, of course, on Monday, on the Tuesday morning show for the review of those games. And, man, it's getting closer and closer to the end of that season as these weeks go by. But at least we have some terrific playoff football to watch on Saturday and Sunday, and hope everybody enjoys it. And until then, see you later, everyone.
Later.
The following podcast is a W2M Network partnership production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.